Today on the grid, our topic is, when does a photo stop being a photograph and start being an illustration? So that's our topic today. The real man, Florida Tan, eats brand. He's from Kyrgyzstan. The real rocket man, Erik Kuna, is here. We got some sweet, sweet giveaways, and it all starts in just 60 seconds.
The grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Wow.
You know, it's hard to find words that rhyme with brand, and Kyrgyzstan is one of them from Austin Powers. Welcome, everybody. Hey, we got a little bit of a late start today. We had some internet hiccups, which is not unusual. But we're here. I'm here. Erik, the orange man, rocket man, can of ham, is here.
Something like that.
Something like that. How you doing, Erik?
I'm doing great. How about you, Scott?
Well, besides the internet stuff, hold on, and my framing. There we go. I want to be in the middle like you.
There we go.
I don't want to be off to one side. I want to be in the middle. There we go. Anyway, glad to have you guys here. We have an interesting topic today. Our topic is, when does a photo stop being a photograph and become an illustration? And this comes from last week's grid. So Adobe had Adobe Max.
Yep.
And they introduced new Photoshop features, and a number of them are AI related. Yeah. So they're using, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and they're able to do some really, really neat stuff. They're able to change people's facial expressions. They're able to literally turn their head a little bit this way or a little bit that way. They can make you smile. They can make you sad. They can make you happy. They can raise your eyes. They can do all kinds of stuff.
And I think that's where it came from, is this concept that they're starting to add this thing called neural filters.
Yeah,
right?
the neural filters.
So neural brain filters, right? So,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it came from, because it was like, once you start getting into there, you can really start manipulating. You were showing moving people's eyes back to center.
Yep. Someone's eyes, they were looking too far to the side, and we brought their irises back. We left their pupils. That was weird. No, it moves the whole eye. Irises, all of the parts, the cornea,
And we've had some of that with the Liquify tool, right? The Liquify tool can do a lot of, has been for a little while.
Yeah, for a few years they've done facial aware.
Yeah.
You know what, one thing I always show in my seminars that surprises people, when you open up a group shot and you're like, well, how is it going to know that there's multiple people?
Face one, face two.
Face one, face two, face three. It's amazing. It really does. Facial recognition has really come a long way, and it really does a great job. And also, when you move the sliders, so they have sliders assigned to everything: your eyes, your nose, your smile, your jawline, the width of your face, the width of your nose, the height of your nose, the width of your lips. And when you move the sliders, it doesn't just move them, but it does such a good job of not messing other parts of your face up. Like, you can mess with the nose and it doesn't mess with anything else. It's very, very, very well done. Well, just recently, this stuff is gone to that next level, and that's what we're going to talk about today, because we really want to hear your thoughts about it. And I'm going to set it up for you here in just a minute. But a couple things, we got some giveaways. Let's talk about giveaways.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Goosenecks. People love them. People want them. All you have to do is go in the comments to enter for our giveaways and say, you know, one of the things I'd like to win is that gooseneck. But you know what else you might say? Wait, do they have a Lytra torch? Oh, yeah, they do. A Lytra torch 2.0. I was just shooting with one of these last week, using it as my only light source. It is ridiculously bright. 400 lumens. That's a lot of light for something about the size of a matchbook. It's really, really small, super lightweight, and lots of fun. I used it actually for shooting with my iPhone. And it is like the perfect iPhone accessory, but you don't have to use an iPhone. You can use whatever you want. But it's really small. I mean, it's like crazy small. You can see how small it is. Has a little dome that goes with it that lightens things up. So there's that. We're giving away that. Again, all you have to do to enter for these giveaways is just leave us a comment, but it would help if you told us what you want to win, so we don't send you the gooseneck when what you really wanted was the Lytra. Or we got a copy of my book, the digital photography book. It's my latest book. It is a brand new retelling of my not only my best-selling book on photography, but the world's best-selling book on digital photography. It's the brand new version, 7 years in the making. Well, that's how long it was since the last one. So it's 7 years. And people are super digging it, so I hope that you'll win it today. If you don't win it, you can go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or anywhere books are sold. All right, we're also giving away something new today. We have I can't reach it, but over there. I'll have to go grab it later. It is a book from Victoria Pavlov. It is on Adobe Fresco. So Adobe Fresco is a very amazing painting program from Adobe, and she is one of the leading experts in the world on Fresco. And I'm gonna just put my hand out. We'll just see if anything happens. It's like the
wow.
Wow.
That's some David Blaine stuff right there.
Man, that's AI, that's machine learning. This book right here from Victoria Pavlov. Victoria is awesome. You'll love the book, and it's one of the only books out on it. I think it may be the only book out on it. And that thing's tearing it up, but people love Fresco. All right, we have a new sponsor, and we are giving away one of their cool plugins for Photoshop. They have a brand new plugin for Photoshop. It's called Optics, and the company is called Boris Effects. Now, Boris Effects, they've been around for a long time.
I've used Boris Effects for almost 20 years. I mean,
yeah, because they were big in video.
Video thing, right? You know, so they were making like really good plugins for After Effects, Avid, Final Cut, all that. So it was ways to make these cool effects for your video where you wouldn't have to spend hours and days and months rendering stuff. So.
Right. Well, now they are taking that same technology and letting you do some of those things to still images in Photoshop. So they got all kinds of cool stuff, and it's about $149, but someone's going to win it for free today. So,
and they also have they got a new Kelby One member discount as well in our member section.
Oh, they've got a Kelby One member discount.
Yep.
How fantastic.
So our members always get that little discount.
Yes, they do. They get that little kicker. Discount. I know. People say, I saved more from like my first order than I did for a year at Kelby One. People do take advantage of those. And especially like there's some stuff like if you want to get that is just Apple has.
Computer. I mean, if you order a laptop or a desktop, just that discount cost will be your membership. Right?
Oh yeah, you'd be better off usually to join Kelby One and never ever watch a video just to get the discount at Apple, because Apple doesn't discount anything, but we have a special Apple version of the Apple Store just for our members. And when I got my new laptop, I saved literally hundreds of dollars.
Yep.
So, all right. That being said, we also have a Slick Pick portfolio. So Slick Pick portfolio. Slick Pick is a company that makes great tools for photographers. It is a portfolio site, but it's for photographers, made from the ground up.
Photographers, yes.
I use them. If you want to go see mine, you can go to scottkelby.com, click on portfolio. It'll take you right to my Slick Pick page, which I made myself. But if you win, you don't have to make it yourself. They will assign a professional designer for you to get your page up and running fast. So everybody needs a portfolio. Every photographer needs one. You should go get one. And if you don't win, we still have a discount for you. You can still get 50% off by going to slickpick.com/Kelby1. So even if you don't win, you still win. What? All right. So we're giving away, just to recap everything, so you can write it in the comments.
A lot of stuff this week.
Goosenecks, Adobe Fresco book, digital photography book, Boris Effect Optics, or Slick Pick portfolio, or Lytra Torch. Torch 2.0. I went blank. Lytra Torch 2.0. Great little device there. Amazing, actually. All right. We got some shout outs, Mr. K.
Yeah, we got people joining us all over the world. So we got Guillermo over there from Peru saying hi. We got Jim from Minnesota saying hi. We got Russell from Schwenksville, Pennsylvania saying hi. And then we got June all the way down in, St. Petersburg, Florida, about 20 miles south of us.
Hey.
And then Azam from New Delhi. We got Bay from Hollywood, Florida. Lynn from California.
West
Luca
Coast,
from
West
New Jersey.
Coast.
Flash from Maryland. Stuart from Long Island. James from Phoenix. Joan from Michigan. We got people joining us all over the world. I see there's David from Sweden joining us. So
all right, everybody's here. The gang's all here. Mm-hmm. Well, we're glad to see you guys. Thank you for joining us. So real quickly before we dive into our topic, which is going to be a wild one, we have a conference coming up in just about 3 weeks, and it is called the Flash Photography Conference. It is a 2-day, 2-track conference, 1 track for beginners, 1 track for people who are more advanced, and it features Joe McNally, the magical unicorn, the king of Flash. You know, you have the king of pop, right? That was Michael Jackson. Joe is the king he's the crown prince of Flash. He's the king.
Well, and you know what's interesting about Flash, right? I think some people I think you guys are really, the two of you really demystify Flash for people, right? Because that's one of the things when you get into a Flash, like nowadays, we were talking about this before the show, to get into Flash, to actually buy a Flash, there are great Flashes for very affordable prices, right? That can work with a bunch of different cameras. And then the modifiers they have. So all the stuff to use Flash, but once you can actually like know how to sculpt and use artificial light like that, it really opens up your photography to so many other avenues, right?
Oh, it does. You're going to open up a whole new world, and you will just fall in love with the process. Unfortunately, what happens is once you get it, and you'll get it during this conference. Once you get it, like you kind of, I get it. It's all you want to do. Like all the other photography genres that you do, you just stop doing them, and you're lighting your cat, and you're lighting your kids, and you're lighting everything, and it's just light, and you'll come back to real life, but it'll be a while because it is so much.
The power of light, right?
Fun.
The power of light. It's like that Pro Photo ad we run. That's what does Pro Photo do? They just bring light, right?
Yep.
And the power of light that's everything, almost everything to a photo.
Oh yeah, and you're not a part-time photographer anymore. And we'll run the official trailer here at some point today, so we'll run it for you. But hundreds of people all over have signed up. So if you want to get on board, do it now. If you get on board, you can come the day before. I'm doing a special session called Flash for Absolute Beginners. So if you're that person that said, I bought a Flash, or I've got one, or I'm thinking again, when I've never really done anything with it, we're going to start from scratch. And when we're done with that class, you will feel comfortable and you'll know what's going on. So you'll be ready for the next 2 days. Now, again, there's a beginner's track the next day, but there's special sessions on all kinds of topics. So like for beginners, I'm doing an introduction to gels, right? An introduction to accessories and modifiers, and I've got a kit for you that you can use, start taking professional quality portraits. The whole thing, out the door, everything, $150. $150 to go buy it, like you own it, it's yours. Yeah. You know, so that's really inexpensive for a Flash photography kit. And Erik and I were just talking about it. He was right just before we went on. The prices for this stuff, it used to be so expensive.
It used to be, yeah.
But now you can get really good gear at really good prices. The accessories have come down. The flashes themselves have come down. Could go on, but I'm not gonna. Couple things before, one more thing. This is interesting. We were talking about this right before we went on. So, we have early voting here in Florida. It's 6 days away from the election. Erik did a write-in vote for Kanye.
I did.
Very surprising, but, I get it.
Don't share that information. But,
Oh, yeah, we usually don't share voting information, but this one time I thought we should. So because
there's some HIPAA law against
Jason talked him into it. Our director said, dude, you got to vote for, and Eric's like, but he's not on the ticket in Florida. Dude, write it in. Just like people in Alabama, they write in Nick Saban, coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Write it in. You write in, the full thing that you write on the ballot is Nick Saban, Roll Tide, # Roll Tide. All right, anyway, so.
That's the vice president, Roll Tide.
That's right, Roll Tide. So last week, where we're showing all this cool Photoshop stuff, and a guy gets in and he makes that statement, and it's not that his statement was wrong. It's just that I've heard that statement for 30 years.
Since the start of Photoshop,
Since the start of Photoshop. When you would show that you could add something or brighten something, literally, I've heard it for 30 years. And it wasn't just I heard it once 30 years ago.
When there was a brightness contrast adjustment, it was like,
every time any new feature is introduced to Photoshop, someone that's not very good at Photoshop says, "Oh, it's not," and what they're basically saying is, "Well, this is just cheating." And you know what it is? We're evolving. Everything is evolving. The way we consume everything. Look at what's going on with streaming. Just streaming our entertainment. I grew up where you watched ABC, CBS, NBC, or Channel 44. Those were my stations.
And when I grew up, it's like we had cable if we purchased it, but
it had
cable
35
was
channels.
about 30 channels, maybe.
Yeah, 30 channels.
Maybe a couple dozen.
And you kept getting that channel from Chicago, right? WGN?
WGN.
Yeah. I don't know how they pulled that one off.
There was
but
a
anyway,
clown on there, Bozo or something.
But so look how that's changing. Now, let's set that aside. Look how music is changing. You used to, if you ever wanted to have one of your songs heard, you had to have a record company sign you. And so everybody would toil away, with that. Now, you go straight to iTunes and you publish your music. Look at book publishing. You could not publish a book unless you had a book publisher say, okay, we've read your manuscript and yes, let's do this book. Now, anybody can get a book up online. You can sell books on Amazon. You can sell books at Barnes & Noble. You can self-publish. Everything, all of these things that have to do with content are changing.
Right.
Video is changing. The way we consume video is changing. Photography is changing too. But it really is just building on the things that we've been doing for 30 years. And before there was Photoshop, they were doing it in the darkroom.
Exactly.
The things they would do in the photographic darkroom. Now, now, not in the tour that I'm on now, not in the tour before that, or the tour before that, but in the tour before that, so back like 2006 or whatever, I used to talk about it, and I showed all these examples of, here are the darkroom instructions for some of the most famous.
Like Ansel Adams, if you see his markups on his Dodge and Burn markups, they're ridiculous.
Gosh.
Right?
He basically says, here, darkroom Photoshop guy, go do this. The difference is, and I think this is something that we have to understand, and I think this is a good thing. So if you acknowledge that the greatest photographers in history, one of their gifts was to be able to look at a neg or a print, like a proof print, and go, here's where the crop is, make this brighter, make this darker, take this out, remove this. And they could do that. They could do it right on the negative. And those people that did that, those retouchers, were artists. But once you realize that that was done before there ever was Photoshop, think about this. Oh, by the way, Henry Cartier-Bresson, dude, he had Time magazine called one of his images the image of the century. And it was a man jumping over a puddle. What was it called? It's a French name.
We'll probably figure it out.
Somebody will put it in the comments because someone from France will go, oh, it's called Behind Le Petit Demure. I forget what it's called. Anyway, if you see the original that he marked it up and stuff, it's just amazing. And you see things from Alfred Newman and some of these photographers that are revered. They were also good at looking at the original proof and giving instructions to someone else to carry out their vision. Guys, we carry out our own vision today. That is a huge advantage. We used to tell somebody else this is what we're thinking and hope that they got it right.
Hope they
all
mixed the
Photoshop has
right,
done.
And hope they did the chemicals right.
Right. Photoshop has done a few things for us. Number one is it allowed anybody, just like you're allowed to publish your own music, publish your own books, make your own magazines. By the way, we're starting a new magazine called Pandemic Life. We were talking about that. It's all about wearing masks, social distancing, and being inside and being miserable.
You got to stop. You got to stop. You're getting me.
We're making Erik choke up over there. Okay, so you have all this access now. What Photoshop did for us was take the artistic process back into our own hands. I'm not telling a darkroom tech what to do. I'm actually doing it myself. And as Photoshop has gotten better and better, have you noticed, and this is the key thing that I would say to this person that made that comment, and it's a legit comment, I'm not making fun of them, it's a legit comment, but...
I mean, that's definitely make that point. Like, it's legitimately a concern. You even talk about it when sky replacements. You've had this mental, we've had this dilemma.
That's a moral issue.
We've had this moral issue with this issue. I mean, it's not like we're just making fun of it and going, move on.
No, but here's the thing I want to point out. First off, there it is. Thank you, Jackie. Jackie says the name of the image from Cartier-Bresson was Behind the Gare Saint-Lazare. So that is it. It's a very famous. If you want to look it up, just go to Google and write Bresson, Bresson, man jumping over water. And you will see it. And Time magazine, literally, I have the quote from Time. Time called it the photo of the century. The photo of the century. So thank you, Jackie, for bringing that up. But photo of the century. Now, let's swing it back around. If you look at what they've done with Photoshop recently, what are they doing? And I want you to think about this, and then we're going to take a break, and we're going to hear from you guys. What Photoshop has done is made it easier to do things that only the experts could do. The experts could replace the sky very easily. Like someone who's really good at Photoshop could do a sky replacement and you would never know. Now, it might take them a while. What they've done with Photoshop and what they continue to do is make it easier for everybody to get great results. Now, that makes the Photoshop experts angry because they've spent all this time learning how to do this stuff and it's their secret bag of tricks, and all of a sudden, now wait a minute, what, everybody can replace skies? That was my jam, that was my bag of tricks, and now everybody can do it. So it's not really, they didn't give you any tools to do something that Photoshop could not already do, right? Think about what they did. Could you pick up somebody's eyes and move them in a frame?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure, absolutely. Could you replace the sky? Yes. Could you make someone who was frowning have a smile? Sure. Someone's got an eye closed. Could you replace it? Sure. All of these things could be done if you knew how. What Adobe's doing is making these tools more accessible, just like what's happening in music, what's happening in book publishing, in magazine publishing, and in photography. They're not letting you do anything that couldn't be done a week ago. It's just easier and more people will be able to do it. It doesn't change really anything.
I think that, and that's what we've talked about this. That's the perspective on this. I think if you think about it from the other side of it, you don't take that into consideration. But when you start thinking about that, like every tool that we've had, every advancement that we've had in Photoshop is really just making it like content-aware fill. You could totally expand the canvas and start cloning and doing all that and spend hours doing it. It's just the computer did it for you. It's not that
select subject.
Select subject. You
Same
can totally.
thing.
I mean, we've been able to make great selections for years.
Oh yeah.
You just don't have to spend hours and hours and hours doing it.
You're sitting there trying to select a banana or something or some apples off a table. You have to sit there and draw a path and all this kind of crap. Now you click a button, it goes, oh, there's apples. You want those selected? Boom, great. That's not art. That's just
one of my first jobs was rotoscoping back in video days.
Yeah, right.
And you'd have to go frame by frame
and drop out the
draw a rotoscope around stuff. And nowadays they could do live keying that's better than rotoscoping.
I know.
With any background. It's crazy.
What has this done? We're going to talk about that right after this break.
Light is photography. That's why, besides the camera itself, perhaps the most powerful tool a photographer has is a flash. When you hold it in your hand, you're holding the ability to create light on demand. When you understand light, you can create drama, mood, and emotion. For many photographers, learning flash has been an uphill battle, and some have simply given up. But that's all about to change. What if you could spend 2 full days with 2 of our industry's most passionate, gifted teachers who would finally demystify Flash for the beginner and push and challenge more experienced Flash users? Can you imagine just how far you would go in those 2 days? This fall, you'll have that opportunity as 2 of the top together to create a truly unique learning experience. Joe McNally, the man who opened the photographic world to the real power of Flash and inspired an entire generation of Flash users through his books, The Moment It Clicks and The Hot Shoe Diaries, along with Scott Kelby, author of The Flash Book, the #1 best-selling book on Flash for the past 3 years, have come together to coach you, to mentor you, to teach, inform, and illuminate by sharing their latest Flash techniques, their hard-earned secrets, and even the post-processing and retouching work that goes into making stunning, remarkable images as you uncover a whole new world of light powered by just a simple flash. It's 2 full days, all presented live, all online. This is the Flash Photography Conference. The power of light is in your hands.
For over 20 years, leading software developer Boris FX has made its mark on the film and television industry. Now, for the first time, our Academy and Emmy Award-winning visual effects tools are available for photographers. Welcome to Optics. Optics is a collection of 160 filters for Photoshop and Lightroom. Simply apply the effect and launch the interface. Optics features thousands of customizable and creative presets for photo editing and effects layering. The top tools include lens flares for cinematic looks, realistic night skies with star fields and moon generator, add lightning with on-screen interactive control. The Easy Mask tool creates masks with just a few clicks. Optics is available now as a plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom and includes the standalone application for macOS and Windows. Get Optics now for 15% off. Visit borisfx.com, add Optics to your cart, and apply coupon code KELBY15.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey everyone, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Mr. Erik Kuna from Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah.
Kyrgyzstan. There he is.
That was a blast from the past right there when I heard that.
That is, dude. I pulled that one out of a hat.
Yeah.
All right. So we're back. Okay.
So you're going to make this point.
Yes. I was going to make this point. I have a point before we make that. All right, you guys, you saw the trailer for the Flash Conference. Go over to kelby1live.com, click Flash Conference up at the top. Read all about it, and we'd love to have you join us. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Joe is just crazy amazing. And even if, like, you're not feeling comfortable enough to watch some of the advanced classes, you got to watch some of Joe's inspirational stuff. Like, he's starting off the conference with just a talk about light, and oh my gosh, you'll...
Well, and a great thing about these, and that's a great point. I mean, Joe is it's like... one of my favorite classes, like Jay Maisel and Joe's classes, where they start talking, they're giving you these wisdom things that they've learned over years that you can apply to your photography. But not only that, if some of that advanced stuff's a little bit too advanced, you still have that ability to build off it, because unlike a live event, these virtual events, you still have access to them afterwards to watch the content. So you can build up to it.
Right, yeah, if you come to my one-day seminar and I'm right there with you, when the seminar is over, it's over. But because we archive them, you get 6 months after the conference to go back and watch any classes, rewatch classes, catch classes you missed. So you do have a ton of access. All right. So right before we took a break, one of the things that I mentioned, I said, what this does for us. And I think this is what a lot of us that feel threatened by this new technology, which we shouldn't. We should embrace it because it's here, and it's, you can fight it all you want. I remember a guy, Erik, when I was teaching, I taught a class on graphic design years ago when I was a graphic designer, and I was just introducing PageMaker at the time. And I was showing how to set type, and a guy came up to me and he was like, this will never replace typography, and I'm a typographer for 25 years, and this will never replace it. And I'm like, oh, buddy, your job is a goner. So I felt bad for him because he was very upset. I mean, that's like he had learned it. And what I would want to tell him was, don't be threatened by this. The fact that you're a typographer means that you'll understand this better than just someone who picks up a computer. You should become the local expert, the guy that they go to get the type done right by computer, And the same thing with Photoshop, because here's what it's done, and this is the point that I wanted to make. It's doing the boring production stuff for you. You get no points for selecting an apple and 2 bananas on it's just time that is gone from your life. If you could click a button and it would select the banana and the apples for you, which you can today, it'll do it perfectly. What does that do? That gives you back a chunk of time, and that time allows you to be more creative. Guys, selecting an apple and bananas is not a creative pursuit. It's a horrible, boring production task. Taking those apple and banana and using them in an interesting way or in a pattern or part of a composite or something, that's where the creativity comes in. So what Adobe has done as they keep adding more features and more features that make these things easier, what they're doing is giving you back creative time. That's what they're doing. They're giving you time to be creative and do things. And we were talking about this on the break. Yeah. You're seeing some of the most creative things Because you'd look at a task and go, oh, it's going to take me 5 minutes to do that. It's going to take me, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Now you're like, click, click, click. And now you're spending your time making things look really interesting and fascinating and fun and whimsical. You know, Brett Malley has got some stuff that he does on Kelby One. Yeah. And he does all these kind of cool composites and stuff. And guys, it's art. There's a place for it. There's always been this in photography. Always, always, always. Unless you are a photojournalist. Photojournalists are trying to capture life as it is. Now, you got to realize.
Yeah, and we were talking about this yesterday, and that's why I said there's a line there, right?
There's a line, but I do want you to understand this. Let's say that you're a photojournalist, and let's say that you came to one of my live seminars, all right? So, you know, I do miss those, by the way, but hopefully in 2021. But I miss those live seminars. If you're a journalist, and you walked in the door and you decided, I want to make this room look packed, and the angle of my story will be Scott packs out Phoenix, you would look around the room and position yourself where it's a sea of people, and then there are the screens in the back, right? You just make it huge. However, if your goal was bad turnout for Scott's Phoenix seminar, you would position yourself in the back corner where there's some empty seats, and you'd frame up the image where it's mostly empty seats. Even though you're a photojournalist and you're supposed to tell reality as it is, you control the message and you control the scene and you control a whole lot more way before it ever gets to Photoshop. Right? Now, in Photoshop, what I'd do is fill the seats back in. Just kidding. But anyway, but do you see what I'm saying?
No, this is a very interesting, you know, now that you're saying it, like, we do that. We, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, like for example, I cover launches, right? If you wanted to show the beach packed for a launch, I mean, there might be only, I shot a launch recently, there wasn't a lot of people on the beach. But if I line myself up with a telephoto lens, compress all those people in a line, I can make it look like there was 1,000 people even though there was 100.
Right.
So I'm kind of changing the narrative as a photojournalist.
Right. You're changing the narrative in your camera.
Yeah.
Right. And this has been done forever, and you can decide when you're doing these things. I remember shooting a pro baseball, shooting Major League Baseball. And I remember the PR staff meeting with me and saying, look, don't show empty seats. If you frame any pictures and you put them up and they have empty seats, you're not coming back.
Or the editors don't select those.
Nope, they're not going to choose. And empty seats look horrible in any sporting event. So they're like, you need to set up either here or from this dugout or from whatever so you don't see empty seats. And so, but because they don't want the narrative to be no one's showing up for the game. This is before you do Photoshop, before you do anything, you're already controlling the message. So understand that even though photojournalism is supposed to show the scene as it is.
Yeah, like purist. Yeah, pure.
You are making an editorial decision of what message that you want to share. You can use your camera to make someone look slimmer. You can use your camera to make someone look heavier. I remember I got a call once, and I can't remember. This is a number of years ago. It's from like TMZ or one of the gossip sites. And they showed me a picture of Kelly Clarkson. And they said, so what do you think's been done to this photo, or what do you think's been done to make her look either bigger, or I don't remember. They either made her bigger or smaller, but they thought it had been manipulated. I've been called for.
Right, yeah, they want to see like what Photoshop editing.
Oh yeah, Kim Kardashian, they'll call me like one of these big TV shows and say, take a look at this photo. Do you see anything that's been manipulated or removed and all so stuff like that? So anyway, I remember thinking, you got to realize in photography when you're shooting a portrait of a person, you know how many things you could do before you ever get into Photoshop to make someone look thinner? You can change, well, first off, you've got camera angles.
Yeah.
You've got clothing, you've got makeup, and you've got lighting.
Lighting, yeah.
Like, for example, I teach short lighting. It's one of the things that I'll be teaching in the Flash conference. Short lighting makes people's face look longer and thinner, and just the lighting. We're not even talking about Photoshop. So I just want
you
us
haven't
to
even got the lens choice.
Yeah, and lens choice. You can have flattering lenses.
Yeah.
You can have lenses that make people's face look awful and distorted. You know, when I think of a distorted picture, I always think of that picture of Bill Clinton. I think it was from the cover of Time. He was sitting in a chair. It was shot low. His feet are giant. He just kind of, but he had such a great, the photo, it's a great photo. So I don't want to say it's a bad photo, but he was distorted.
Right.
And it wasn't flattering, but the picture wasn't supposed to be flattering. It was supposed to be insightful. You know, it's like,
right.
But Eric's right. There are lenses that make people look beautiful. They're the most flattering lenses, and I can have you have all the camera settings and go, here, try this lens instead, and all of a sudden they look funky. Same person, same everything, and they just look like, what happened? All of this happens before Photoshop, and that was the point, by the way, I made to that thing. I go, you got to realize, you're saying what's done in Photoshop. Let's start with what was done in the camera and what was done in lighting and what was done in hair, what was done in makeup, what was done all of these other things.
It's a very interesting, I mean, I think a lot of people just look at the post and don't think about the other stuff. So that's an interesting perspective.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I think we want to hear from you guys. Like, I mean, what do you think about that? Like, are we even crossing a line before we get in the post? I mean, I don't think so, personally. I think you're just, again, creating your creative vision out there because, to your point, even photojournalism, your editor's telling you what to get. Like you said, the editor's like, hey, or the PR person's like, don't show empty seats. Don't shoot that way. Don't shoot this. Don't shoot that. You know, do this. Don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's being manipulated and controlled before you even take the shot.
Yep, that's exactly what it's doing. So
yeah.
Photoshop is just an extension of all that.
Yeah, and that's what I find that what you're saying here is very interesting because I mean we've had conversations about this, but I think we're going deeper than we've even gone.
We're going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, we're going around the rabbit hole. And it's like, yeah, I didn't even think about like all of us, we're all manipulating the image.
Mostly you though.
Mostly me.
Mostly
yes.
Eric. All right. Okay. Hey, coming up next, we want to hear your comments. I see some good ones coming in here. If you have a comment, also don't forget to win any of the cool. We got a good stuff today. We got good stuff. You're watching live. You can win it. We're going to pick the winners here in just a few minutes. So just drop us a comment, and it doesn't have to be anything. Just hey, would love the book. Would love the fresco book. Would love the platypod goosenecks. Would love a slick pick portfolio. Love the Boris FX optics. Any one of those, let us know. We're going to pick some winners. We'll be giving them away shortly. Stick around. We'll be right back here on The Grid.
Multitask with Platypod, the ultra commercial twin pack.
Distance learning during a pandemic is a challenging situation. With the Platypod twin pack, you can teach your students just like before by letting them see the big picture. Nothing puts the board in boardroom like the same old view. The Platypod Twin Pack easily fits in small spaces, so you can unlock a variety of unique angles that share the whole story. When you can't waste time on multiple setups, let the Platypod Twin Pack be your sous chef. It captures multiple angles simultaneously, so you can focus on what you do best. Sometimes just getting around your grid can feel like an elaborate production. The Platypod Twin Pack clears the floor of tripods and light stands, so you can use the entire room. Now more than ever, we're learning to adapt. We've moved the office into the bedroom, and we moved the gym. Whoa! The Platypod Twin Pack is just as adaptable. You can mount or strap it to just about anything. Turn any location into a professional setup. Yeah! Woo! Platypod Twin Pack. No matter who you are, or what you do, or where you do it, double your creative impact with the Platypod Twin Pack.
Go to platypod.com to get your twin pack today.
Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. My name is Serge Germany. I'm a French photographer living in Los Angeles, California, and I'm a fine art artist. I love SlickPic because you can host all your photos online you can share the best one through albums with incredible privacy settings. For example, you can just share an album to like 3 people or for just a number of hours. They have amazing watermarking on the fly where you can just change your mind and watermark and redo the watermark or take it out and it's instant on all your photos. Having an official portfolio is so vital today. Now they have an amazing launching deal where for just taking the basic subscription we're offering now, which is roughly $15 a month, you're gonna get a professional designer to do your website for you. All you have to do is fill in a form with a few data and you're good to go. A designer will design your website for you. So if you don't like web design, this is a great opportunity. I think we're better off taking photos and learning how to do HTML and CSS and getting the most perfect website ever. I mean, even if you were to go the route of WordPress, which I did for many years, having a WordPress is free, but you need to host a WordPress. And a good hosting service is between $10 to $20 a month. So all you have to do is click the link below and get the offer. You will get this special price, which is 50% off for the first year, but you're gonna get it for life. So get it now. I love my Sleeping website. I love the business that it drives me, and I want the same success for you. Get it now.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. This topic went
Hey,
fast.
we're back. Scott here and Eric. Man, we're having some good conversations offline, but we're bringing them to you online, and some really, really good comments coming out here. So I want to talk about this one from J.C. Sewell, who if you want to read that one, Eric, there's something interesting about this one.
He's saying, I read an interesting article that the courts, they just had to have someone testify that a picture is reasonably true and that they can be admitted, and it's up to the lawyers to show that it's been manipulated. That's oversimplified, but wow, you could make a case on a manipulated image.
Well, so JC, this is what's interesting. So for many years, I've taught all kinds of law enforcement Photoshop. I've taught the Department of Defense. I've done workshops for the Department of Defense, for the FBI for many, many years, for the NATIA, which is the National Association of Technical Investigators. So it's police officers and sheriffs and detectives and all different forms of law enforcement that have an annual convention and all. And I'm the guy that goes and teaches them Photoshop. And I learned a lot about it from talking to some of the one-on-one with the police officers and with the sheriffs and the detectives and the FBI guys and stuff. And one of the things that they said was there was a reason why that they, at one point, you could have an action track everything you did to a photo. The reason why that they needed to do that was sometimes you have to go into Photoshop and sharpen to see a license plate on a surveillance camera.
Yeah, to bring out detail.
Right. So you need to do certain things. Well, when you bring that image into court to go look, you can see it's his car. There's the license plate. The defense attorney will say, "Wait a minute. How did you get to see that? Does this go into Photoshop?" And as soon as the FBI or the sheriff or the detective or something said, "Well, yes, we sharpened it," he goes, "Oh, this is a manipulated image." So what they were trying to do, they were working with Adobe to find a way where you could have an ironclad list of here's what we did to the photo, and that you could run that action in court to show this is what was done to get to there. We didn't add a license plate number, we didn't change a license plate number, but they had to come up with this set of actions and things. And this was Adobe working with law enforcement, because that manipulation thing is a very big, the defense attorneys would be like, "Oh, that's it." All right, can I tell you one story that'll blow your mind though? Are you guys ready to have your mind blown? This is the story of the day. So I'm teaching at one of these conferences, and we take a break. We break in between classes and stuff. Now, sometimes they would send me photos of dead people, which were gross, like crime scenes and just surveillance camera and stuff and all this. And a lot of the quality was horrible. And so I was talking to one of the guys. I go, "Man, why are the cameras in like a 7-Eleven so? Surveillance cameras don't have to be that bad." And he's like, bad. "You're thinking like a regular person. You're thinking that camera's there to catch the bad guy. That camera's not there to catch the bad guy. That camera's there to catch the employee stealing. So it looks great right at the register, because he said, figure it this way. Let's say somebody goes into 7-Eleven, they break in, they hold up the guy. What are they going to steal? $150? But you get an employee that slides $20 every day, you're out thousands. And he goes, so the cameras that are in a 7-Eleven aren't meant to see the guy down the aisle. Did he pull out a gun and is he stealing stuff? It's meant they're aimed at the cash register, not to catch the bad guy, to catch the employee. So he goes, this is a problem for us. Here comes the story. He says, now he is from a southern state, which will remain nameless, but it is not Florida. And he kind of talked like this. I want to tell you what we do here. He goes, let's say that we got a guy, we pick him up, we know he robbed 7-Eleven. We know it. There's the gun in the car. There's a Slurpee cup. We know he did it. This is what he's saying. We know he did it. We caught him red-handed. So we bring him in, and he goes, and I'll tell you, Scott, we use Photoshop, but we don't use it in court. You can't use it in court, but we use it in the police station. Let me tell you how. He goes, I get the surveillance back from the 7-Eleven. Guy's wearing the same shirt. It's the same clothes. Come on, He goes, we know it's him. But he's saying, I didn't do it. It's not me. It's not me. You got the wrong guy. It's a case of mistaken identity. So here's what I do. I take his booking picture, and I take it into Photoshop, and I copy it onto the picture of him down the aisle. It gets worse. Copy it down the aisle, and I shrink it down to the size of his head. But then I blur it, and I add noise so you can't really tell it's him. He goes, you kind of tell it, but you really can't. And then I make copies, and every copy I make, I do a little less blurring and a little less noise until you can see it. And then what I do is I make prints, and I go into the interrogation room where we're holding the guy, and I tell him, hey, look what we just got from the FBI lab. And he goes, I slide the page, he says, I slide the images down on the table right in front of him. And he goes, 9 times out of 10, the guy goes, you got me. And he goes, and if after I show him the pictures, he's still arguing it ain't him, it probably ain't him. True story. I kid you not. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to that state.
Oh, that's terrible.
It is terrible.
That's terrible.
But he says, no, I ain't taking that to court. We're just using it to coerce confessions, and it works like a charm. And I'm like, I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Don't tell me things like this. But anyway, it is a very true thing that he said, that when you do if you sharpen a file, it's been manipulated in Photoshop.
Right.
So now that opens up that's why it's so important.
But I mean, nowadays you can even sharpen in camera, and you can sharpen.
You can increase the amount of sharpening.
You can actually run post-processing in the camera. So is that manipulation?
I
mean, that's where you get into this weird thing.
But see, I don't think that they would do that. The word Photoshop to us means it does. There's a reason why they call it Photoshop magic. Like, oh, you did some Photoshop magic on this. It's a very popular term. Photoshop is a term in the popular vernacular. We all use it. It's like, oh, that's been Photoshopped. And by the way, they hate when you use Photoshop as a verb. Like, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
It's just Adobe Photoshop. Period. Okay. Some more comments here.
You photoshopped
I like
that?
this. I like this. Scott Hinton's got a really good comment here.
Yeah. So Scott is saying that the photo is an artistic representation of what the photographer wishes to present. Unless we're trying to mislead a viewer by misrepresenting the subject, like making our 1973 Dodge Dart look like a 2020 Mercedes, I don't think it's an issue.
I agree.
I think that's where I'm at too.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like totally misrepresenting what's going on, because that's what I do a lot of times. I do manipulate pretty much every photo, but it's to the point of not like misrepresenting what I shot.
Hey, can we show? Do you have those photos that you sent me yesterday? Well, you copied me on an email and you sent a bunch of photos. Do you remember this? You sent an email to somebody.
Yeah.
And you said, here's some shots I took out west.
Yeah.
And can you share those? Because I think Erik last week shared a Milky Way shot that was, it was kind of like your first pass at it. You hadn't done your blending and all your Photoshop magic. And then we're going to have to roll here in a minute. So we got to get some winners and all that stuff. But can you pull those up?
Well, here, let me see if I can.
You had some nice shots. And I think a couple of them saw some Photoshop.
every one of them saw Photoshop.
But you weren't adding things that weren't there. You didn't like stick
No, but I
boulder
manipulated stuff. I mean, I manipulated the file that was there.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I always, if I see a beer can in my shot, it's a goner. All right, while Eric's looking for that, we're going to take a short one. When we come back, we've got the prizes coming up next. We got another comment or two, and we're out. So stick around. We are live on the grid. Don't go away.
Hello, I'm Hilmar Smith, and I'm a creative portrait photographer. In this class, I'm going to be teaching you how to make the best of the space that is available to you. Doesn't matter how small it is, we're going to be using gels, we're going to be using different kind of light, we're going to be using fog, we're going to be using all kind of tricks just to transform your home and make it look cinematic and amazing. We're going to be talking about how taking pictures that you are going to composite afterwards, and I'm going to teach you how to put an easy composite together. I'm also going to be teaching you how you can take pictures of yourself, because if you don't have any models available to you, who's better than you? I'm going to show you how you can involve your family members into it, and I'm going to show you the tricks that I use with my kids to get them involved and to make the best out of our ideas, because I love to take their ideas into consideration too. If you want to learn how to make creative portraits from the comfort of your home, come join me in my latest class at kelby1.com.
Would you believe us if we told you that you could fit studio lighting in your pocket? Well, Lytra has made it possible. Lytra is a global award-winning brand that designs and manufactures professional-grade camera lights that are compact, rugged, and waterproof. Whether you're using Lytra gear in a photo studio or underwater, Lytra's mission is to provide content creators with flexible and unlimited lighting tools that can mount on any camera, anywhere. Their lights come with a high CRI or color rendering index, making them some of the most color accurate lights in the industry. Due to the light's compact and rugged design, photographers are able to use the lights in ways that their studio lighting never could. Lytra has also made multiple lighting accessories available to fit your every need as a creator. Whether you're shooting portraits, nailing a product shot, or even flying your drone, they have got you covered. Lytra enables photographers and filmmakers to focus on their craft and create something beautiful. What will you create?
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
Hey, we are back. Eric, any luck in finding those images?
No, I found the email, but I can't get the. Well, I can get. We'll
move on while he's doing that. I'm going to read Bill Way's comment. Bill's got a cute comment here. He says, even the latest version of Photoshop doesn't tell me where to point the lens and when to push the shutter. Good point. But he also said, in a frightening thing, maybe that's next. All right, so Bill, you know that there's an app called Photoshop Camera, right? I don't know why it hasn't caught on, but it's you know, it's a thing in the App Store, Photoshop Camera. I kid you not. And it's supposed to be terrific. I haven't downloaded it either. No one's using that piece of crap. No, I'm just kidding. It's real.
Here's one.
All right, here we go. Eric found one.
Here's one, and this is one that I can say I manipulated. Let's go. How do we go full
You don't have to
screen?
show pictures that manipulate. I just wanted to see some pretty pictures.
Okay.
I just thought you were shooting really well.
All right. So there's a shot. So that's my my nephew out there sitting with a headlamp on, right, and pointed at the Milky Way.
Right.
And this image though has been manipulated. I mean, we've got light painting on the foreground, light painting in the background.
You had a light out there?
Yeah.
Was it a Lytra?
It was a Lytra. and then multiple shots of the Milky Way. I actually enhanced the headlight. I actually used Boris optics because I was testing that out. Used Boris optics to kind of like enhance that headlamp so it kind of glows a little bit more. So, you know, stuff like that. And then there's like shots like that.
Manipulated.
I mean, they're all somewhat manipulated. I was even over here in Photoshop, and that's what I was going to show. Is like there's shots like this where I mean that's 42 images stacked together using math in Photoshop. Is that a photo anymore? Or is that an artistic shot, right?
All right, here's my question. Why did you need 42 photos?
Well, I just wanted to make it look cool and have that streak of the images going through.
So what, the rocket was lower and then...
Yeah, it's like it's progressively stacked on top of each other, and I just like the look of it. Right?
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, but I mean, is that an image anymore? You know, or like here where like, this is 3 different shots put together where I've got one streak I exposed for, another streak I exposed for, and then I had a little light painting on the foreground. Is that an image, or is that a photo, or is that an illustration?
That's a toy.
Right? Or like that one where that's multiple images put together. This is multiple images that I shot put together. That's a boost back burn of an engine and then star field behind it. You know, is that an image anymore? Or is that, you know, I mean, you could say
it's a composite. There's nothing wrong with compositing.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. It's like, but I shot all the stuff in it, like all the things that are in it. I shot.
We teach compositing.
Yeah,
it's our jam.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. People go, oh, that's not a photo anymore.
It's not the photo the way they would do it.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's not a photograph. It's still art. It's still creative, and it's all based on photography. All right, we got to get to our winners because we got some winners. Congratulations to Denny. You got the goosenecks. Woo! And he's looking for photos.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Anna Amarilla, you won my book. So thank you very much. Josh Hill says, my website is a disaster. I would love the Slick Pick Portfolio membership. And congratulations, Josh. You just got it. Now, Josh, you know what would be cool? Send us a link to your website now, and then send us after you get your Slick Pick Portfolio. I would love to see both, especially if your website's currently a disaster. A lot of people's are. Don't feel like I would say most are disastrous. All right, Henrik the Dane, congratulations. You got the Fresco book from Victoria Pavlov. Gary Clark, you got a Lytra torch. And Lauren says, I would love the Boris Effect optics.
Well, you got it, Lauren. You got it.
Man, we got lots of good, these are some
great giveaways. I mean, we got a lot.
We got a lot of sweet stuff. Well, we've run over by about 7 minutes, and that's as much as I can tolerate. But thank you guys for participating today and for joining us here on The Grid. We're back next week. We got nothing going on, right? We're here?
Yeah, we're here.
We're here next week at 1 p.m. Tell your friends, and if you have any friends that use flash photography, tell them to come and go over to Kelby1 Live, Kelby1Live.com, and check out the conference. We'd love to have them join us. It is going to be awesome. I'm working on all my stuff now, and I'm very excited about what I'll be teaching, and Joe's stuff is just ridiculous. His stuff is just amazing. You're going to learn a lot, and you're going to laugh a lot. Joe is a very witty and funny, but he does it in a way that helps the techniques and the concepts to stick. So he really is. He's really brilliant at it. One of the best you'll ever see. So thank you guys for watching, and thanks to my crew here, and thanks to Mr. Erik Kuna.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
From Kyrgyzstan. That's where he's from.
Wow.
And we'll see you guys. Hey, next week. The election will be over, and hopefully we can return to regular life.
Yeah.
And talk about other things like photography.
Kanye 2020.
Yay. All right, guys, take care. Stay safe. We'll catch you next time.
Light is photography. That's why, besides the camera itself, perhaps the most powerful tool a photographer has is a flash. When you hold it in your hand, you're holding the ability to create light on demand. When you understand light, you can create drama, mood, and emotion. For many photographers, learning flash has been an uphill battle, and some have simply given up. But that's all about to change. What if you could spend 2 full days with 2 of our industry's most passionate, gifted teachers who would finally demystify flash for the beginner and push and challenge more experienced flash users? Can you imagine just how far you would go in those 2 days? This fall, you'll have that opportunity, as two of the top Flash authors and educators come together to create a truly unique learning experience. Joe McNally, the man who opened the photographic world to the real power of Flash and inspired an entire generation of Flash users through his books, The Moment It Clicks and The Hot Shoe Diaries, along with Scott Kelby, author of The Flash Book, the #1 best-selling book on Flash for the past 3 years, have come together to coach you, to mentor you, to teach, inform and illuminate by sharing their latest Flash techniques, their hard-earned secrets, and even the post-processing and retouching work that goes into making stunning, remarkable images as you uncover a whole new world of light powered by just a simple Flash. It's 2 full days, all presented live, all online. This is the Flash Photography Conference. The power of light is in your hands.